sorry, I haven't done that in such a long time. And I didn't get around to practicing. So that means that in between the Abhinaya, you can see those little flashes of like, could you?
No.
Vishwanath, could you? Little bit. I used to, when you watch your teacher dance, it's a great learning experience. And everyone, of course, who's ever seen Kela Babu perform can never forget it. But to be his student means that you get to see it all of the time. And then it's so wonderful to watch him on stage and to see how a composition that he's taught and is now performing, and because it's his, he's not going to necessarily remember the steps that he taught. And so then you get to see, oh, well, the meaning is this. You just go ahead and what do you do? And you can see those moments of forgetting, or, oh my goodness, his foot's fallen asleep. What's he going to do now? And the audience is not going to be aware of this unless you're really, really there, and then you'll get those little flickers. You should always, I said this yesterday, you should always assume that the audience can read your mind, because they can. And some of them may not. Okay, so the difference in this piece to the other is that here you are the divine. So it's a very different feeling, So it's like gradations and graduations of what you do. Just as you learn Namami first, and then you learn Avtar because you've got some expression, but it's just like one line, and then you go into the Sancharis. Okay, any questions? Now we're going to do you. Questions? Goody. All right, who's got a line they want to work on? I know you came prepared.
Well, ma'am, because I've only learned Dashavataar, so...
Okay, fine. Come.
Come.
Come. Yes, come. Come, tell everything. I mean, it's good to take something very simple. I mean, one thing. Otherwise, you can get lost in too many permutations.
But I also haven't,
You can take your jacket off. Vishwanath, come on up too. Okay, so, what's the line?
Vahasi vapushi vishade. I also haven't touched this in some time.
Okay, show. Pranam.
Confusion starts from the beginning because
okay.
It's like Vahasi Vapushi Vishade. Like I know that I'm showing that I understand that I have to show that he has like a strong body, but it doesn't go any further than that.
Okay, this is Balaram?
Yes.
Okay. Do the first part, the opening line.
So, Vahasi Vapushi Vishade.
Okay. So the question is, why are you doing this? What are you showing? Or what's the question?
The question is that, I don't know, it's always, like, whenever I do it, it hasn't, actually I don't understand very much that story.
Okay,
like
Vishwanath? Okay, yeah. The story is very confusing. Very confusing. worth visiting. Okay, what do you do?
Vahasi, Bapusi, Vishade, Masalam, Tapitam.
Okay, so you're both showing, he's a handsome guy. And why are you doing this? Well, first of all, for many Vaishnavites in eastern India, Krishna is considered to be Vishnu, synonymous. So in South India, other places, you will have Krishna as one of the 10 incarnations, one of the 10 avatars. But in East India, and this is Gita Govinda, and this is the composition, you've got a substitute. You've got Balaram stuck in. Now, Balaram, so already you've got an odd situation, okay? Because Balaram is partially, divine, but you never really think about it that much in the other things, okay? Then, and I must say, I can't fully answer this right now because I've read about it and I'm not remembering everything. Okay, so one thing is you've got a substitute. You've got Balaram instead of Krishna. So what did Balaram do? All of these other incarnations, there's been an imbalance of good and evil, and they've changed it, right? They've saved the Vedas for our eon, for our yugs. What does Balaram do? He's drunk, and he takes his plow, and he forces the Yamuna River to change her course. All right. Now, that's the line. Obviously, there's a rich story here, and you're doing a précis of this here. So you've already got some things that are not analogous.
But why does he change the course of the river? Or from what I had understood was that the Yamuna is afraid because he's
the Yamuna is afraid. He's threatening, and he changes the course, and he does this, and the Yamuna changed. I can't give you a really satisfactory answer because I forget. I'm forgetting. I mean, there is an answer, and I've got a book at home that is a whole book on Dashavataar. So then, obviously it's going to be explaining this. But basically, in terms of your beginning, what are you doing? You've got Balaram, half-brother, and he is handsome. What can we say about him as this substitute avatar stuck in there, philosophically? So what we've been given from the poet and from the tradition is simply that he's very handsome, that his clothes are like the colors of the rainbow, or of the clouds rather, the clouds. He's very handsome, and he's frightened the Yamuna, because every one of the lines in Dashavataar, in the opening one, is just a précis. Is there anybody who knows more about Balaram? Can tell us at the moment? Okay, we can look it up and find it. So now, in terms of choreography, if you've got this first line that you're showing that he's very handsome, there's a lot of ways to show it. So what you're doing is you're going, like that right? You are very handsome. And how are you showing he's handsome? Okay, you're showing like this he's handsome. So you can show this, you could show this, you could show this, okay? What Kelu Babu's put in the choreography is showing that he's narrow-waisted and broad-shouldered. Yeah, but the trouble is if people don't do it in the right place, you've got a tree. So people go like that and you're like, what is it? I don't know. How can the audience possibly know? That is the crux of it. You have to be totally sure of what it is and to bring it real. Okay, so we've got narrow waist, broad shoulder. Or you've got this. Now if you're showing him like this, you, very clearly, that I'm talking to are so handsome, right? Otherwise it could be you, see how handsome I am. Right? Or, or you are fat, or something. So, got to be clear. And then the second thing is strong. Strong. Okay. Now, this is a great way to show strong, but you have to have the sentence and the context and what you're doing clear. So, I mean, I don't know this choreography, right? Fine, doesn't matter. It's accurate. So, you know, if you're going from you and you're connecting it to that your appearance is so strong, right? So that nobody would be in doubt. You can show strong like that. You can show strong like that. You know, what else? I mean, you know, that's a fun thing. See, we can think about how do you show strong. You know, you could be, you know, your appearance is, you know, you could see how strong he is just by looking at him and seeing his strength, right? So if you feel it, and see now what we're doing in Keela Babu's choreography is that we're doing, we're just starting directly with the appearance. We're not going to you, right? Okay, you, and then we're showing this strength. We're showing his figure rather than this, right? And then we're showing the clouds like that. Okay. Now, when you do this, you know, this could be anything. This could be go away. Right? How do you know it's the clouds and that you're looking at the colors of the clouds? So, whether you see it. Okay, but anyway, so now come here a little more in the light. Okay, so now do it again, and everybody watch and see if it's more clear. Okay, look at him and say you, talk to him, you, and now really show him how, show the body, right, and then do it, go ahead. All right. Does she understand it? Can you tell? Is she understanding it? Yes, she's understanding it. Is she feeling it? Little confusion still.
Yeah.
Little confusion. You're feeling it, but then there's some other things there. And then in the showing, there's a bunch of extra stuff. So it's not clear. So you're going like that very nicely, and then you're showing, but this is getting weaker. You were clear, and then this is getting weaker, and then we've got a bunch of other stuff happening in the body. So, is he being flexible? Is he riding on a boat? Is he? I mean, I'm exaggerating, right? You know, how do you, I mean, this thing doesn't feel like strong to you, right? Or you don't feel like, why should you show he's strong?
No, maybe the connection is what is.
The connection, all right, okay.
Like the transition from one thing to the other.
Right. So what happens is, because you're not comfortable with the transition, there's this extra stuff in there in all the transitions, okay? So now do it again, and just go, your appearance is strong. Okay, now do it again. Let's see. Okay, was it better? Okay, now, so the thing is that in terms of the showing, she's feeling it a little more, but she's not 100% there. But to show it, it's what I call, you got to photocopy it at least 150%. When I do this, am I talking to you? Yeah. Or maybe I'm talking to him. You know, it's not so clear. You. Okay? You want to be definite. Now, you don't want to be exaggerated. Remember, we're talking about Lokadharmi, right? You don't want to be like Jatra, this isn't going to be like that. But if it's just kind of, now, now, who are you talking to? You are talking to a man, the brother of Krishna or Vishnu, the stand-in in an avatar, so he's an important person, who happens also to be a drunkard, which is why he did this when he was drunk. So if I just go, you might not even get his attention. Huh? Right? So you're doing you very nicely. Just stand here a second, look at me. Okay, so it's like I'm going you. Okay. You. Okay. But you can do it much bigger. You. It's like, wow. One thing that you can stick in a lot more, which will help get your things going, is more wonder, more adbhut. So, it's not like you. Are you happy? It's you. I'm looking at you. You're it. Wow. Lady Gaga is sitting right there. You. Right? Right? If she's sitting there, you're not going to go, you come? How nice. Oh, aren't you looking pretty? Okay. Huh? So make it with so now you want to, okay, do it again, and do it like you've just been put into a photocopy machine and you've increased it 150%. Okay, you, go ahead. Catch your breath. Okay, just stand still for a moment. What's your last pose before you do this? You've just finished what? Before Balaram is Vamana, right? Parashuram. No, Ram. You just finished Ram. Right. So you've just finished and you're there. Okay, stand in your final pose. Okay. Now, first of all, feel that you are Ram. Okay. Okay. Find your focus. It's very helpful. It's very helpful to find a spot to look at. Okay. And Ram, he has, stay there, be Ram. Just look at her and see if she's Ram. So Ram has that expression that's confident. Slight smile, totally knowing who he is. There's no tension, there's no stress. He is powerful, and he just is there. He's there. Okay. Now those are just some ways of thinking about it. You come up with your own so that you're there. Don't blink your eyes unless it's something that's appropriate if you're looking. Okay, you're here. Okay, now switch. Boom. Bye-bye. Okay. So first part's fine. This part's better, right? From there, it gets diluted. Why? Okay, just do that. Do your last thing.
Because I'm also forgetting even like the movement is even.
Yeah, that's true.
Away.
That's true. Okay, so you've done this. Do that. Do that. You've done that. Now from there, look at him. Look at him. You're in that pose. You're talking to him, and you're showing that you're showing your figure. And now directly from there, without any bounce and without a lot of neck stuff, just step forward and say strong. Go look at him. You're strong. Okay. So now we've gotten the strong. Now you want to add into that, this is you that I'm showing. Because it's like she's got the you, and she's showing this, and she's showing strong. But I don't know that strong is about him. It could be saying, I want to be strong, or be strong. Okay, so you've got to communicate that your appearance is strong. So instead of the this, just put that same feeling of that nod into maybe into where it fits. I don't want to say do one nod, because remember yesterday I said exactly what Kelu Babu told me not to do. It's not like, okay, you're here, now one nod, and then you're there, in a mechanistic way. It has to come out of the feeling. You have to find it. Okay. What last time? Okay. Vishwanath, you sing.
No, I'm lost with the
Okay.
with the music.
Okay, you do it.
You want me to say?
No, don't sing.
Don't sing.
She doesn't like you sing. I think that's come a long way. I think that's come a long way. The understanding is there, and the feeling is there, which it wasn't because you weren't sure. You know how to feel. Now the question is showing. And the showing is there, and as you do it and you get more confident in it and remember, then it will become more assured, okay, and more visible. Because again, when we're saying, what if your audience extends really far? So what you understand, what you feel, and what you're showing needs to be shown at a farther distance, right? Okay. Okay, thank you for your bravery in being a guinea pig. Who else has a line they want to do? Pick a line, any line.
Can I try to do the Mangala Sharon?
Sure.
Is it possible? Or
Absolutely.
Because there was some Pallavi, I can remember the words. I
Yeah.
remember the meaning, but I don't remember the words. So unless you remind me,
Okay.
then I will do Mangala Sharon.
Sure. And of course, with a slightly different teachers, there's going to be obviously changes, which are, Vishwanath, you can sing. Who can sing? Who can sing Mangala Charan?
I think it will
Namami.
be different from the did.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the singing is the same.
Okay, let's see. You sing.
You want to sing? Yes. Sing.
Sing.
I don't think so.
No?
Okay. We can do it with the cassette, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same, but we can try. I don't know. I will do.
Do it. Just
And
do
then
it.
you'll tell me if coincide with them. I don't remember yet.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, it's
Mhm.
good.
Okay. I think it's number one, it's understood, right? And I think it's pretty clear. I would only suggest that a few places focus. Where your eyes are and for how long, in a sense, that you lose the impact. Let's see, first part, Namami, Abhinaya, Tvam.
Actually, here, for
Yeah.
example, I was enlightening by what you say, because in what I learned it is that Ganesh suddenly passed.
Yeah.
I think I was a little bit like shifting the idea because I work with this
Yeah.
idea of Ganesh, but I think we were working more with Ganesh on the side.
Mm-hmm. But
Now,
then this should be this way.
Yeah, but then if you do it in front of an audience, then you will lose the power, no? What do you? I mean, if everything is side and you have your audience front, because we are still performing,
Right.
then everything will lose the connection with the audience. If supposedly the audience is front and what you're
Well, you see, if you put Ganapati up, I mean, these are things, you know, I mean, see, the thing is to think about it. I have an idea. That's not like the right idea. It depends, but the important thing is that you have to logically make sense of what you're doing. So if you can do, you know, Namami here, and then you've got your, you know, your Vignaraja or whatever, and then you're putting him over here, and it's believable, and then you're clear about it, then that's fine, okay? As long as it's not just that because one steps and the hands just come like this, you know, and you're looking here. If your hands are here, the word is twam, which means you. It means you. So it can be like this, but, you know, okay. Now, when you come forward, I mean, it's fine. When you finish the tree and you come forward. Now, my feeling is that this part is basically it's just ornamental, just to get to the fact that he's sitting. You have the tree, Twam Kalpabruksha Sansitam. He's sitting there. Okay. Now, the sitting, because this part was very beautiful, by the time you got to this, it wasn't, I had lost its connection to that he's sitting under the tree. Yeah,
so
please.
what we learned is this is the grass for
Yeah.
us. I don't know if you have, like showing the
The
grass.
grass.
So from
Yes,
close
yes.
to far, no, you see
Yeah.
the grass,
Okay.
and then you see the bench,
Yes, the bench.
and then you sit under the shadow. This is the meaning that I got.
Perfect, perfect. Now, when you finish it, this is where you want to look at Ganesh.
After, so I should do like.
You're sitting and you're talking to him. You finished your sentence. All right?
Like you
You.
are sitting.
You.
So
So because you're saying to him, oh wonderful Vignaraja, you're sitting under the wish fulfilling tree. Please fulfill my wish. Right? So it's perfect, right? So you've got all of this, nice choreography, everything. You've got your tree, you're showing the grass, all of this stuff. But when you come here, you need to tell him. That's all. Just that. Just in my opinion. You tell him. Then you're doing Uma, and then you're holding him, and you're holding him like a baby, which is terrific.
actually, the meaning is like yes, holding like
Yes.
the baby, but he's showing. This is showing.
Right, that's right, that's good. So he's on the knee and he's showing, brilliant. But then after that, okay, continue.
I think I missed the Vasana.
That's
Yes,
fine.
is the beautiful body. Very big. So the idea that we work it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he came here.
Right,
I think he came
okay.
very close to me.
Absolutely.
And I'm starting to watch his big feet because
Yes,
it's an elephant.
yes.
So and then I go up and I'm supposed to be
Yeah.
very wondering. Like
Yes,
wondering.
yes.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
So this is the idea that
Yes.
we have done.
And then continue.
And then I think I can remember.
Okay, now when you're doing this, this is the tusks. So bring it a little closer up to this, because it is, those are the tusks.
Okay, so these are
Unless you're doing something different.
the task is proposed.
Yeah. It's the tusks.
So-
Okay, so if it goes here, then it's just a pretty movement. Or it might be his trunk. You know, we've got his trunk, but this one is actually,
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So
That's
I thought
okay.
the task was
That's
trunk.
okay.
So trunk
Yeah.
is the main.
yeah.
Okay. So the task. Okay.
Yeah, so just bring that up a little higher, however you're doing it.
So I think it's.
Yeah, so you feel like it's there and clear, Task.
That is.
right? And then you've got his wonderful dancing. Now look at him with the dancing, again. I mean, in my opinion, you're talking to him. Or you can be showing to everybody, you know, but it has to connect that his mother's very proud, you're wonderful, you've got these wonderful tusks, and he's, you know, if you're dancing for everybody, but you would end up, or starting out, you're a wonderful dancer, and then show everybody or something. Okay, connect it, right? So just a glance. Okay, then after that,
Then there is the dance, and then there is Tandava.
Then it's Shiva, yeah. Okay, hold that a second. Now here you want to have, when you come up to that, you've got your pose, and you're worried about balancing, which the way to balance is bend more in your supporting leg, and that gives you strength, right? Okay, and now, don't look feminine, feel strong. And one thing is that you want to widen your shoulders. And to the extent that you can create an expanse here, you know. And whether or not you're at this angle, if your teachers taught you that way, or you have to be front, whatever. But anyway, try to make it wider, right? And look out into that horizon.
So no left.
Oh, look wherever you, no, that's okay, look wherever you want, that's okay. But wherever you're looking, Shiva looks everywhere, okay, that's fine, I'm not saying no to left. Look left, but if you're looking there, look into infinity, which is under your discretion, right? Okay, do that, just look out there. See, is she doing it? Okay,
Not
there.
well, so.
Yeah. Step into there. All right. Now, okay, do it again. Do it again, so that it happens without an adjustment. You know, so that you step, and as your eyes come up, they come to where they're going, so that you're not going to be somewhere and then change them.
Okay.
I mean, you saw, like when I was demonstrating, there were like several places where if I were performing it, I mean, I would definitely, you know, be balancing, and it's like here I thought, why bother? You know, why put my energy into worrying about this when what I want you to be able to see is this? So let's just leave that out, okay? And there are times when you might do that in a performance, right? Okay, and then after that? Okay, so this is all very nice. I would only suggest that when you come to the point of buddhi and asking that that you change the dynamic so that the energy there, it's all very lovely. You see, you've done your powerful thing, the snake, and he's holding the snake, and then you come to this. Again, you can, what you're feeling is absolutely correct, but you can show it more. So it's like instead of just being in a pose, is one simply, I mean, and this is a choice, is one simply in a respectful pose? Is one in an earnest, desiring pose? What will that do to your torso? What will it do to your, you know, to everything where you are? Okay, and then from there. And then after that, from here, then you do what? Right? Then you do this, you're peaceful, right? Okay. Peaceful. Okay. Now when you do this, you can, what are your meaning? What's the meaning of this?
Every day.
Every day. Okay, fine. Every day. Okay. Okay, just stop. Now, what you're doing is beautiful. But it's like here, and then it's here, and then it's here, and it's beautiful, but each of those things is a different idea. And we're not seeing the different idea in each. So there's a difference between showing each day from however you want to show the purity to how you want to show the wisdom. So the actions are beautiful, but they all have the same energy and the same import. So you need to shift how they are. Okay, just do that again. Do it again From here, okay. And just think, you're showing each day, pure knowledge. Okay. Any
What kind
different?
of knowledge is?
What kind of knowledge? All right.
And what
Kind
kind
of-
of purity? Is a
Yes,
spiritual
okay.
purity is
Good question. You can read a whole book, on it and think about it. The Buddha, this is one of the thrilling things, is that Ganapati, who is big, who is strong, who rides the mouse, who can go through any physical barrier, actually, the way he's helping you break obstacles is by giving you wisdom. And what is wisdom? Wisdom is more than knowledge, right? So it's, wisdom is way beyond knowledge. And so what you're asking for is the wisdom to resolve to break through your obstacles. And you can ascribe, when you're doing this in the dance, just general, but you can be very specific because you're about to dance, okay? So when you do this, you can be saying to him, give me the wisdom to get through this program even though I'm not really ready, but please bless me and let me pull out the best that I have, even though, I'm not smart enough to have done what I should have done, okay? Please. You could look at him and say, please give me the wisdom, please give me the wisdom, the ability that I can, to enable me to show the beauty of this art form to this audience. So depending on where you are and who you are at that time that you're performing, you can ask. And you're asking because ultimately who are you asking? You're asking yourself. What is all prayer? It's all to yourself, to what's within you. So that gives you that focus to say that. Okay, and what is the purity? The purity means siddha, means straight. So it's not simple, it's not, this could be interpreted in different ways, and what's the word, but what strikes me at the moment is that the idea is that it's straight. When we do this, and when we do this, what you're actually showing is like when you have gold wire, and you pull it straight. It's this absolutely pure, straight thing. It's just like that, straight. And so what you're doing is absolutely siddha. So I would say that you could think of it in terms of give me spiritual. No, I wouldn't go that way, because wisdom, being more than knowledge, is going to mean ethical. So you have the shield, you have your principles, your ethics, to me, inherent if you're wise. You would have had that understanding, right? So, so the purity is really every day, give me on that line without distraction. I would say it's more that, pure, without getting confused, without getting muddied, without being on this path and falling off of it, okay? So just whatever your hand gesture is, each day, absolutely, right to the point, the wisdom so I can get through, okay? And then as you do these, and if you think of each one separate, and then you reach, so that each one isn't da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. But you're doing it prettier than that even, But that if you do it in a way that it's each day, something different. Whatever it is. And then a different energy, a sinking, a breathing. Don't forget to breathe. That's going to change your energy with things. Especially with things that are adbhut. you know, that you can, and then it's going to be different instead of, because what happens is that everything has this nice thing, and then it can get lost in the meaning. I mean, don't stop doing anything you're doing, because it's absolutely beautiful. But just but add on the clarity and a little dynamic maybe.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I have a question.
Please.
Why do we do this every day? Is because it is a gesture from
This is
India?
This is what we call Vinaya. Have you studied Vinaya?
A little bit.
Little bit. Okay. So in the interpretation of your guru and her choreography, she has learned somewhere that Mayur, going like this, is a way of showing each day. Each day. And I'm just doing this. That's all that we're doing, Suchi. Every day. Very simple. Every day, pure wisdom. Okay, we're just doing that. But this is like day, turning. Right? Just like, you know, you show night that way, or a day, you could do this, but that would be a bigger thing. If I wanted to do, I could do this every day, pure. But it's like too big. It's not what you really need right there. But yeah, this is just showing each day. Each day. Now, your audience isn't going to know that. So you have to be thinking it so clearly that they get the message. You know, they might not know that it's every day, but they're going to get regular. Again and again. You know, you've got to get it, so however you're doing it, it's going to be read, it's going to be legible to people who don't know. That's it. You know. Okay. Thank you very much. This was a fun experiment to do. And do you have any comments, questions? Tell me, what did you get out of it? In fact, let me give you the mic. I'm just curious if there is anything, because I don't know what I'm doing. Here, I'm going to just go around. Just say, I mean, you don't have to. You can pass the mic. But if there was something that was of value, tell me.
Yeah, of course. Actually, for me, it is right. I mean, as you said, it's like understanding, feeling. I think understanding everybody does, and it's proper feeling when you actually perform. Because a lot of time when we practice, we get to feel it. I mean, we try to do it at time, but then on stage, probably because of fear or whatever kind of feeling, actually whatever kind of experience or whatever kind of things that goes in, at times, rather a lot of times, it happens that we're not able to express what we actually want to do. So this is a very good experience for me here. That you need to first completely digest, and once you reach out to the stage, it's like it's only you. Because a lot of times when you see the audience, it's like suddenly you get to be something else. A lot of times you get probably because of nervousness.
Yeah, so there's a couple things. A couple things about that. There's a theater exercise which is very handy. No, you can give it to her. Oh, there's no mic here. No. Doesn't matter. Okay. There's a standard theater exercise where you line up people like looking at each other. So like I'm here looking at you, you're looking at me. And it's like you stand up there and it's like, oh, you feel very nervous, you're self-conscious. What are my arms doing? All this stuff. Okay. Then you give an intervening task, which is like, count the number of levers on the light. 1, 2, 3, 4. So while you're doing that task, you're not nervous. And the moral of that story is that when you come out there, your focus needs to be on what you're doing.
No, because what happens is like when you practice generally in classes, right? You're sure, you're very confident. But what happens is like even if you practice a lot, you understand the meaning. When you get onto the stage, I mean, at times it happens, probably I mean, that's what I said. Probably because of nervousness, or you become very conscious.
You see, you need stage practice. It's important to perform because you learn things that you can't learn in the class.
Correct.
And I feel that for classical dance, that practice should be performing at temples, performing for children. I think there are many opportunities to perform that you should just take generously without waiting. And the thing is, like, Vishwanath discovered, I mean, he's performed like in groups and he's been Shiva and Shivaji, but when he danced alone, it was different. What did it feel like?
I was completely nervous. At that time when all the people were sitting in front of me, and my legs were shivering. And I thought that I can't dance, but by the blessing of God, I did it.
So how did you do it besides the blessings of God? What did you do to put yourself together?
We did practice a lot before the performance because it was my first solo performance when I did that. So we did a lot of practice, but when I get on the stage, it was really different. All the people were sitting and watching me. So my heartbeat was like, and I can't see who is sitting in front of me, and I was just dancing.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah. Now you have to do stage practice, and first of all, you've got these lights blinding you that are different. You're wearing a costume which you haven't been wearing, and then you've got.
And then one more thing I feel,
Yeah.
there needs to be a sync between what we are thinking and doing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, okay, it may be clear what is going in your brain, but then you're not able to take it out through your actions. So that's one problem what I feel about my work.
So this is like if you really understand it and
Yeah.
you're feeling it, then you just think about that. You just, the thing is you're coming out and your focus is on communicating. And then you see, you can actually not remember, but you'll still be okay if you understand. And I even have always rather liked to, I don't like to rehearse something until it's like automatic, because the other thing with Abhinaya is that when you're doing a text, it's supposed to be immediate.
Yeah.
Singers are different. You don't want to be starting to do the action before the word is said, because that's like an actor saying the lines before the question's been asked. You're supposed to be responding. You're supposed to be immediate. So sometimes I sort of like under rehearse so that I can't even quite remember the song until the singer sings it, and then I realize what to do. Problem is, if he doesn't sing it clearly, then you have a problem. Okay.
Today I had a very different experience out here because my last performance on stage was in 1995. And since then I have not performed, I have not practiced, to be very honest. But today when I came here and saw you do the Beginner Raja, it was like, bringing everything back to me, how it meant, what it meant. And I've realized that many a times what we do is we are so conscious about, okay, we have to keep the beat, we have to keep the fingers, it should be going, it should be straight, this, that we actually forget to put the feelings into the dance. And that is what I saw today here. That when you are dancing, it's just not only your steps or your face movement or your head movement, but with that you have to bring out your feelings also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, actually, it's a very important point. When you come on the stage, that is not the time to think about your steps or the beat or where. That's what you do before you get there. So it's automatic. That's, because, you've got to have things going automatic. When you come on the stage, it's got to be you communicating and giving to the audience. And if you see, look, if I'm looking at you, but if I'm like trying to remember, okay, am I bending enough? Am I turned out? Then my energy goes inside and you're not going to get anything, even if I'm right. It's going to be, right? So it's too late. It's too late then. And you have to accept, particularly as when you haven't performed a lot, I mean, it's a surprise, but I'm telling you, when you perform, it's always going to be less than what you could do in class. And that's why it's so important that in class, you've got to get that joke deep, and you've got to get everything right, because it's going to be less, you know. And anyway, it's the way it is. Okay.
So, first, thank you very much for this
Yeah.
experience. But I guess sometimes it's for me. Sometimes it's different. When I am on the stage, I have to look to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when even if I'm practicing a structure in a very, but when I'm on the stage, I think I need to look at the audience, and sometimes I feel also to change my dance according the feeling that is in that moment, and this is very difficult when you perform a classical form where the structure is very fixed. And the meanings are very fixed, and the tribanga must be perfect. But sometimes I feel I could spoil everything, because what I need is to meet the audience. So this is a kind of can say age fight sometimes with myself when I am on the when I do the classical dance performance for this reason.
That's interesting. It's interesting because, okay, so I mean, the feeling is great, because the fact is that you are creating with the audience, and every performance is different when it's live because of who's there and where they are and all that stuff. So your motivation is absolutely like the way it should be. And you are in touch with them, whereas less experienced dancers who are focused on themselves, it's harder for them to be able to relate to the audience. You need a little practice so that you can leave that behind, so that you can be in this place where here's your audience, and you're doing for them. I guess I would suggest is that you think about sometimes what it is that you want with that audience, and you think about how within the parameters of what you can do, you can expand it. I mean, so. Well, one thing is do your own choreography. See, then you have more freedom. I mean, you're doing someone else's, you're doing choreography, you shouldn't mess with it. But with your own, you can. So you get to that point. But it's like I mean, I find that, when I look out at the audience, if the lights are such that you can see people and all, you're going to feel warmly toward them. You're going to want to communicate, and you can just put. It's a question of the energy rather than changing the steps. See, you can change some other things. Dynamics and energy and even distance. Right? Dance out into the audience. Something like that. Okay, anybody else?
About the teaching, yesterday you were mentioning, or you asked us, like, how many of us had begun to learn the steps along with the expression. And so, like, whenever you start teaching somebody, or suppose right now I have a student and I've started teaching, how do I go about combining or inviting this student to...
Right. Okay, so first of all, you're starting out, you're doing your exercises, okay? So it can't be like look down or look anywhere. And everybody's got different issues. So if you've got a lot of people who will remain nameless, like to look down. So if you're doing that while you're practicing, how are you suddenly going to look up when you're dancing? So you're doing your exercises and you say to your student, look out. And people have like mannerisms. They're doing something, the tongue goes or the mouth opens. Even things like making a mistake and making faces. I am announcing to my teacher that I know that I made a mistake, so they don't think I'm too stupid to know that I made a mistake, and then you wind up doing that on stage. So this is not, what you want. Okay, so while you're doing it, it's just like you're exercising, and you say, please, look at this spot, right? And, pleasant expression, and imagine that you're doing a demonstration of this. Imagine that you've got some people who are coming to watch, and how you're doing it, rather than it being, not involved. Then also, just like you add on with the steps, you're going to start, with your step, and then you're doing the things individually, and then you're adding on how to do the bungee with it, right? And then you're making sure that they can do the head as well, and then you're adding on the eyes, right? And one thing that's important with the eyes is that you don't go. First of all, you don't go side. Side means diagonal, right? But you don't go corner. You have to go across the front. You have to be going across the front. And then it's like, if you just look at my eyes are going there, but I think you can tell that I'm not seeing, as opposed to seeing. So you practice that with them, so that they've got the eyes and the expression, right? And even in Pallavis, you have different expressions to some extent. Whether it's a Sringara Ras, it's a shy young girl, or something else.
Okay, thank you very much. And then I would like to ask a couple of things. The first one is related to the last thing that you said about the Pallavi, and how we have to interpret each Pallavi, each rag. Mm-hmm. And how can we find out if the name of the rag that we use are different from Hindustani and Carnatic, and it's very difficult to find source. That's really
The teacher should tell you.
So,
that's what teachers are for. Okay? Then when teachers aren't able to tell you, ask the musicians. Okay? If the musicians don't tell you, look it up in books. Look it up on the web. Find other people to ask. And then you see, if you look up the name of a rag, maybe you can find out things. Is it morning? Is it night? But as far as the names of it in Hindustani and Odia, and or Carnatic, just keep asking until you get the answers. Right? Just keep asking. And then it'll be like me, you get the answers, you write it down, you can't remember. So if you ask me, I'm like, let me look at my book. No, I have a list here.
okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. And the other thing is about the way we, actually yesterday you were speaking about expressions that are not Oriya or are not culturally coherent. So how can I be sure is the way I feel is the right one? Because I feel very much when I listen to music and when I'm doing some sloka, but I'm not sure if my feeling is the one that is supposed to be. Or if it's...
Well,
if I can explain.
what you do is, you see, what you need to have is people in front of you looking. Okay? And someone in front looking who is not an expert can still tell a lot of things, especially if you tell them what to look for, right? And then, of course, if you get people who are knowledgeable, and it's trial and error, but you have to keep doing it. But for instance, when you're choreographing something, I would say to someone, so which looks better? If I do like this, or does it look better if I do like that? And you're watching, and you'll say that one actually looks better. You can tell. And then you see, just like anything when you ask advice, you ask it and then you know whether or not you agree or not with the advice. And you might think, yeah, but actually this one is better because of a reason or something. You know, and you just keep showing it to people. I mean, like you try something out, like I would choreograph something and I would show it to Kayla Baba when he came to visit. You know, so like that. Anything else? Anybody else?
I have a question.
With my CDs.
It's about taking your opinion because my guru style is very strange, the way I've learned. It's very subtle. And now if you visit Orissa and learn one of their bright items about Kali or Durga, they have a whole dynamics like doing this. But since we have learned it in a very subtle way, so most of the time if you are giving your whole energy and expression and a part of you, would like to see Kali as, and when you put that, most people there would not consider it conventionally, what it's supposed to be. So in that case, you're not doing it wrong, but maybe visually it's not the way things are expected.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what a dancer do in that case?
Okay. It is true that in different places people have different expectations of the norms of what they're seeing. Sometimes very good dancers from Orissa have performed in Delhi and their performances haven't been appreciated because it's not what is expected. It's not the kind of Odissi that audiences here are used to seeing, right? I mean, in Delhi, we have a lot of wonderful professional artists coming from different traditions. Most of them not from Orissa. Not that that matters, right? But, everybody has their own dynamics. So, I mean, everybody interprets from their guru or their dance, and then they have their own way. And whoever you have in a place, that's what you're used to seeing. And so, I thought it's kind of unfortunate when someone who's quite good comes and they're seen as like beyond the pale. And they're not. Same thing. When performances that are really very fine and appreciated in Delhi or other places go to Orissa, they don't like it. And so, I mean, first of all, you have to be, as you are, you're aware. And you have to be aware of the whys and wherefores. And then you have to stick to your guns. What you do is you make some choices. For instance, if, let's say, people are expecting, if people, for instance, in Orissa are used to seeing very powerful Durga Charan Rambir, Durga Charan Das, interpretations of Devi, then I would suggest don't do that item. When the expectation is of that item, do it something different. There are quadrillion things you can do on Devi, and that can have other aspects. I mean, it can also be quite nice to learn something in another tradition and expand, your range if it suits you. But if it doesn't suit you, it's going to be awkward. And one thing is, there will always be people who appreciate. So somebody's doing something and people will say, oh, wow, that's so dramatic, it's so great. And other people will say, that's a caricature, that's like melodrama. I mean, there's no real expression. They're just, being like, it looks like Parsi theater. It's Jatra. I mean, it's, and other people will say, oh, wow, it's fantastic, right? And you can do something and people say, wow, we haven't seen such subtlety in a long time. Oh, you're doing it slow, you're not rushing, we're so happy. We miss what Odissi was, So, I mean, you have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to do it in a range that makes sense for you. And the only thing that you can do when you are going to Orissa to perform is, as you have a choice of items, don't do something that people aren't going to like, Like the last time I danced, which was a long time ago, I did Bansi Teji. And it's just wonderful, And actually I had just learned it. I shouldn't have been performing it. But I had just learned it from Guruji, and it's just such a wonderful thing. And it's good for an Oriya audience. But it is just so dripping in bhakti that it's not so good for other audiences. They would get, Bansi Teji is it's like, leave that flute. It's like this is when Krishna's left. He's gone, and the gopis and Radha, they're all pining. And it's like, oh. But you have to get it. You have to feel that way about it. And if you don't, it's like on and, somebody who's not a Vaishnavite or can't get into that feeling and be like, okay. It's repetitive. So you choose your audiences where to do it. Just like yesterday you were saying, Kuyadanand. You want to do that for an audience that's going to get it and not say, what kind of dancing is this? So basically, don't do your most modern, innovative choices when you go to Orissa, unless you want to be controversial. And as far as those things that are dramatic, it's like wonderful. It's like somebody asked Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist teacher, how come if Buddhism is so nice and compassionate, how come there's all these different varieties? He said, well, you wouldn't want your garden to be blooming with one kind of flower. And, I'm delighted, much as I, love my guru's style, I wouldn't want to see every performance I go to being exactly the same repertoire done exactly the same way. I love seeing the dynamics and the different stuff, but it's not for me, right? And even in Kelu Babu's style, I always felt that like Sanjanani and I were kind of like at within the range and like at kind of like two ends. And I always thought it would be nice we get together and do something together. Because she was just like, oh, right? It was great, because that was her choice. But it's not like it's wrong or right, it's just within that. Okay, well, thank you very much. We're going to stop. And this was interesting. I hope it was of value, Yeah, it was good.